On the 71st episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, we're going to be talking about the Dodgers winning the 2024 World Series, some NFL news, injuries, and Pickems. We're going to do some NBA updates and end it off with some Hall of Fame. Yay or nay? Make sure you use code HatTrick Sports when checking out at w.gg. Roll it! Welcome to HatTrick Sports, starring your host, Isaiah Carpenter. Bringing you the biggest sports headlines every week. This is the HatTrick Sports Podcast. All right, let's get this started. MLB news. Now, we are first going to talk about the obvious, the Dodgers winning the World Series. Let's go. I know it has been a few days, but the Dodgers are officially World Series champions. They've played the 5 games, whatever. They won games 1, 2, 3, and 5. They've had their parade, a lot of small stories that we'll be talking about, and overall, just absolutely amazing. I've obviously posted reactions and stuff to TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, which if you aren't followed on all of those platforms, make sure you go follow them now. But yes, the Dodgers did win the World Series against the New York Yankees in 5 games. It was great. It was great. So games 1 and 2 were obviously really, really close. Game 3, the Dodgers won. Game 4, the Yankees kind of blew it open in the 8th inning. And then in Game 5, it kind of came down to the wire. But yeah, the Dodgers did end up winning the World Series, and I cannot be happier. Obviously, we can't sell these shirts because of logos and copyright and stuff, but if you want us to give you one in exchange for a $25, $30 tip, we could maybe arrange that, so make sure you DM or email us if you want this sick graphic tee, and we could probably send one your way. And yes, the Dodgers and Kike and Kershaw and everybody that's been there finally get the parade. Now, you hear 29 other baseball teams' excuse for the 2020 World Series that it was Mickey Mouse, whatever, COVID, whatever. Now there's no more Mickey Mouse. I still think it's a legit World Series because, hey, guess what? You all had the same conditions. All 30 teams had the same conditions, and the Dodgers were the best out of all 30. So, congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers and to the 29 other teams who have now graduated from that Mickey Mouse ring, and now we get a legit ring, which again, in 2020, it was legit, but now there are no excuses. Hey, we overpaid, whatever. We bought the World Series. Hey, guess what? Email your owners and tell them to start spending more money, and they'll start spending more money. Don't get mad at us because your owners don't spend a lot of money. That's basically that. Ohtani, I don't believe he had a winning season with the Angels, and then all of a sudden, he's in the playoffs, and all of a sudden, he dominates, not necessarily him himself, but the team dominates in the playoffs, and then they win the World Series. So Ohtani goes from never having a winning season to winning the World Series, and I don't think, obviously, he didn't do that good in the World Series, but at the same time, he's never been in the postseason. He doesn't know what this is like. He's never, obviously, he's had, best of 7 games and whatever, stuff like that. He's had series before. But, yeah, he's just never been in the MLB postseason experience, if you know what I mean. So you can't blame the guy. I think in the next 10 years or whatever, he's going to get more used to being playing in the playoffs and stuff and the World Series. I hope he has more World Series he ends up winning. But I give the guy a break. We won the World Series. You can't get mad at Ohtani for not performing well. I understand, yeah, we're paying him $700 million. But, and yes, I'm saying we are paying for $700 million because guess what? I also do have a Shohei Ohtani jersey. So don't come at me for saying we are paying him $700 million because I contributed that money for the Shohei Ohtani jersey that will end up eventually going into his salary. So, yes, congratulations, Shohei. Got that World Series under his belt. Just another thing a GOAT needs to have is a World Series. I mean, the Shohei Ohtani is absolutely crazy, phenomenal. But congratulations, Ohtani. He deserves it. He got us there. Now, yes, there were some guys that made us win the World Series, but without Ohtani, we may have not been in the World Series or even in the playoffs for that reason. But let's talk about how Flaherty should never show his face in LA. I don't really know why he was out there on the parade. Sure, in Game 1, he did okay. Still, he didn't get the win in Game 1. He did good in Game 1. Don't get me wrong, Flaherty did do good in Game 1, but in Game 5, he should never, ever show his face in LA. And I think there are obviously videos of him getting very, very, very drunk in the after the parade and stuff, and I think he just doesn't want to remember that moment. He wants to remember the World Series and the season, whatever. That Game 5, man, Flaherty should not feel good about himself, and I think he may have lost, I'll talk about this a little bit later, I think he may have lost millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars just because of that one horrible start. You've seen it with Yu Darvish, obviously had an up-and-coming career. He kind of plateaued a lot after tipping his pitches in 2017. Ultimately, the Astros winning that game in the World Series. But yeah, Flaherty should not be proud of himself. We had to do two bullpen games in a row in the World Series, and if the Yankees ended up winning that, it just would have been good at all. Let's talk about the fifth inning. The Yankees are never. If I say top of the fifth inning to any Yankees fans for the next 100 years, they're gonna know exactly what I mean. I mean, Aaron Judge, first of all, you cannot miss that ball. You've made that play thousands on thousands on thousands of times. But whatever, that was what would have been the first out. He thought that was routine. He kind of got lazy. It's the World Series. You can't keep your eyes off of it. You have to secure the baseball. And then, again, Torres throwing to third. Hey, you're up 5-0. You could give up a run to get the double play, 2 outs. Guys at 2 and guys at 3, guy at 3, whatever. Torres, you do not throw it there. And then Garrett Cole and Rizzo with the miscommunication. Garrett Cole, hey, you got to cover that. If Rizzo, you got to at least be close. Now, hey, if Rizzo's coming and he's like, back off, hey, that's when you back off. But Cole, you got to be there. And Rizzo, it could have been a bang play, but Rizzo jogs to the bag. Absolutely mind-boggling. How does one achieve that? Like, those 3 errors itself, and I'm not even sure which ones were considered errors at this point, but those 3 plays have really, I don't know if the Dodgers would have won the World Series. Now, of course, they were up 3-1 at that time. They were going to go back to LA. They just needed to win 1 of 2 in LA. Whatever. But it wouldn't have gone into, I don't think, no, there's always the butterfly effect. What would have happened? What wouldn't have happened? Whatever. But the Yankees, they kind of sold their own World Series chance. Like, they didn't even have a chance to go back to LA to finish that series off just because of the top of the 5th inning. I was kind of starting designing it and putting it on a t-shirt, and then I saw John Boy Media did the same exact thing. Top 5. I'll pop a picture up, but I'm just going to say John Boy Media copied us in that because I had it ready to print and everything, and I was like, the next day I had it, I was designing it and I had it ready to print. It said, it was the exact thing. It was top 5, it said Yankees top 5 or whatever on it. And obviously, right before I press ship to whatever, publish or whatever, I see the John Boy Media thing of it, of the top 5. So you won't be seeing shirts of that, but I really wanted to print those shirts out first. And you know what? They just had the same idea as me. So, yeah, that's ultimately what kind of costed them. Now, let's talk about Flaherty and Buehler. I said we would talk about this a little bit. Buehler did amazing. He obviously finished out the World Series. He pitched the 9th inning of the World Series. He did great in Game 3. He did great. Buehler is going to get re-signed with the Dodgers, I think. I think he becomes a free agent. I think he's going to get re-signed or extended with the Dodgers or whatever. And I say that he gains dozens of millions of dollars off of just that World Series. Flaherty, on the other hand, again, like I said, should never, ever show his face in Los Angeles again. Flaherty, I don't think will be re-signed with the Dodgers. I think a team will pick him up. Let's be reasonable here. A team's going to pick him up, but you would have so much more value if he did better in that Game 5. Like I said earlier, I said this earlier in the podcast, Yu Darvish, the same exact thing. I do think in Game 1, you saw the first pitch, or the first at-bat of Game 1 of the World Series, you see whoever was the leadoff. Who was the leadoff in Game 1? World Series Game 1 lineup. Yankees. Gleyber Torres. So after Torres got out, I believe he lined out or grounded out to Muncy at third. He talks to Soto on deck, or maybe he talks to Judge. He talks to Judge or Soto, whoever's I forget, maybe Soto was already at the plate or whatever. I think he talks to Judge. I think Torres talks to Judge. It was like, hey, Flaherty tips his pitches or whatever. I don't think they get back to Flaherty. I think that, it was just bad at ABs or whatever. But I do think in Game 5, they remember him tipping those kind of pitches. And I think that's ultimately what got him. And again, it'll never come out. The Yankees will never admit it. And Flaherty obviously doesn't know. Pryor will never admit it. But I do think that's ultimately what happened. He was tipping pitches, and that's what got all over the Yankees in Game 5. And again, this will ultimately cost Flaherty tons and tons and tons of money, and his career might come up short because of that. He obviously, like I said, he's going to get re-signed, but for how long and whatever. I think Flaherty's kind of dug himself a hole there a little bit. But Doc trusted Flaherty, and you got to do that. It's the World Series. You can't be off in the World Series. You only pitch one, maybe 2 times in a year in a World Series, and you're only in the World Series. Again, some teams have never even won a World Series, so you just cannot be off. Because Flaherty did so bad, the Dodgers basically had to have 2 bullpen games in a row in the World Series. After coming off of 2 in the CS, you just cannot happen. And the Dodgers need to have healthier pitching staff. And whether that's signing some better guys or getting these guys back quicker, the Dodgers you can't have bullpen games in the postseason anymore. That should just be cut out of the situation. That shouldn't even be a situation to begin with. And Buehler is going to probably re-sign with LA. What I did like about Buehler is that in the parade, and I just saw a story just before filming this of Earl Hershiser basically explaining that in the middle of the series, Buehler basically called him up and was like, hey, do you still have your 1988 game-worn jersey? So of the jersey that he was wearing, the specific jersey, there's 2 of them. There's one that's in the Hall of Fame, and then Hershiser got to keep one of them. And I guess it was at his house in Las Vegas. And so Hershiser calls up his wife. This is a hilarious story. He's like, hey, you need to FedEx this, next day shipping. Make sure it gets to me. Because, again, this jersey's, priceless. It's literally priceless. You cannot buy this jersey. Again, the one's in the Hall of Fame. The other one's going to stay with Hershiser. And I'm sure once he eventually dies, it's going to go past through the family tree. But Buehler's like, hey, I want this. And apparently Hershiser's wife was mad about it because he was like, hey, what happens? There's no way Buehler's going to get so drunk he's going to spill beer all over it. It's going to get messed up and everything. And Hershiser's like, hey, that just adds to the story of what this jersey is. So Buehler ultimately gets the jersey for the parade, and then they do a little jersey swap, Buehler and Hershiser. And I think it's cool that Buehler wanted that. Again, Buehler's one of the best pitchers in this World Series, and he gets to wear the 88 against when Hershiser went against the A's. So I think that's a cool little story that happened there. And you know what? Shout out to Hershiser's wife for sending that jersey and next day shipping in FedEx. Let's talk about, so obviously the MLB season is officially over. What are some free agents that will re-sign with their team, sign with another team, have these massive, massive contracts, or ultimately may never get re-signed again? Now, all of these guys, I have 8 to 10, maybe even more guys on this list. But who will get re-signed? Who's a free agent? Who will get re-signed with the team? Who will get signed with the new team? And what will they end up doing in the career if they get into that team? So you have Juan Soto. Now, Juan Soto in these press conferences doesn't sound like he wants to stay with the Yankees. He's going to have a massive, massive contract, whether that's $600 million for 15 years, whatever. I don't think he's worth that. As a Dodgers fan, I do not want Juan Soto. He went through the Padres organization. Now, it's not like that. Hey, guess what? If you go through the Giants organization or the Rockies organization and you go through the Dodgers, hey, fine, whatever. But I think that the Padres just have the wrong mentality, man. You have Tatis, Profar, and Machado. If you are within contact or buddies or family with those 3 guys, I think you're like, I just think Juan Soto has that kind of thing. The Soto shuffle? Nah, not a fan of it at all. I know he started that with the Nationals. I just don't think Soto has that really mindset to be with the Dodgers, and he's got to really grow up, man. He, again, going through that Padres organization made him really immature, and I think ultimately that's going to lose value. I think he could be worth $650 or whatever, but I think that he just doesn't have the maturity to be with the Dodgers, so I don't think he's going to go to the Dodgers. He said he's open to go to any and every team. He said all 30 teams are available. Basically, who's going to pay him enough? I don't think he really cares about winning that much. That's why I don't think the Dodgers will also sign him, and I think that's why he said that all 30 clubs are open to him. I don't think he signs with the Yankees. I think that if he goes to a high contender, Guardians, even a Twins or a Mets or a Royals or something like that, I think he has potential at winning a championship in the next few seasons, but I just don't think that he's going to re-sign with the Yankees or Dodgers. You have Corbin Burns, again, a pitcher. As a Dodgers fan, I would kind of like Corbin Burns. I would like Burns and Adames, and we'll talk about Adames a little bit later. But Corbin Burns, I think anybody that needs good pitching, you can get him for somewhat cheap. He's not going to be super cheap, but he's not going to be $600 million, whatever. You have Alex Bregman. If the Dodgers get him, I'm not going to be mad. I obviously don't like what he's done in the past at all. I hate what he's done in the past. But hey, we could get over that. We could get over that one player if he does good with the Dodgers. So, again, I don't necessarily want him, but I won't necessarily be extremely mad if the Dodgers get Alex Bregman. You have Max Fried. And again, another guy, if you need pitching, he's not going to be cheap. But, hey, if you need Max Fried, get him. He's going to probably be, depending on the team, he may be somebody's ace, and he may be on a team like the Angels or somebody with a losing record. But you know what? We'll take him. Blake Snell. Is he going into the NL West? I don't necessarily want him. I just don't think that. I think his career's on a downturn. He did not do the club option or whatever with the Giants, so it's going back to the Padres. That's what I'm hearing a lot of. I think he might go back with the Padres. And hey, if the Padres get him, the Padres get him. Again, he's gone through that Padres organization. I think it just failed him. I think that the Padres organization ultimately failed him. So that's basically what I think. I don't think he's a bad person or a bad guy necessarily. I don't think he's a Profar Machado or Tatis. But I just don't think that's him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't think that the Dodgers are going to take him or really necessarily want him. Pete Alonso, first baseman. You know what? If you need a first baseman, get Pete Alonso. He's a power guy. Obviously, he's a home run hitter, won the home run derbies. I don't think he's going to go as high as like a lot of people are saying he is. I think he's going to be relatively cheap. Again, I just don't think he's all that. I think the first few seasons, he did great. I think he's determined to win, if that makes sense. Obviously, we've seen his competitiveness in the home run derbies and stuff. I don't think he's going to go to the Dodgers, but I hope the team that gets him does well with him. You have Willy Adames. Now, this is a guy that I want for the Dodgers. The Dodgers need like a set infield. Like, the Dodgers don't ever seem to have a really set infield, like ever. That makes me so mad. They don't have a set infield. They have Mookie Betts playing in the infield. What are we doing? But Willy Adames would fill that up. So I hope the Dodgers sign Willy Adames, maybe Corbin Burns or something. You have Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, again, I think he has that club option with the Yankees. I'm not sure if he's accepted or declined that on either way for the Yankees or Cole. But as a Dodgers fan, I don't want Cole. I just think he might be too expensive, and I think the Dodgers have pitching. I think the Dodgers have 10 starters or whatever. They're just all injured. We only have 3 healthy starters, and you know what? I don't think it's worth it for the Dodgers to get Garrett Cole, but I do think whoever gets Garrett Cole, again, I understand he was with the Astros when they cheated, and I know the Astros fans are going to make the argument, hey, pitchers can't cheat. Guess what? They can cheat to get the win because the other team has, because you outscore the other team. Whatever, I'm not going to go into that. But I don't want Garrett Cole. I just don't want Garrett Cole. You have Teoscar Hernandez. I think that it is crucial for Teoscar Hernandez to sign back with the Dodgers. And I think that if the Dodgers don't sign Teoscar Hernandez, I think they have failed the organization, especially with everything they've done last offseason. So you guys better get Teoscar Hernandez back. If you don't sign anybody else in free agency, make sure you get Teoscar Hernandez back, because guess what? He fit with the clubhouse. Look at Shohei Ohtani and Teoscar Hernandez. They're just absolutely... You thought Yamamoto and Ohtani were going to be super tight. Guess what? Teoscar Hernandez and Shohei Ohtani are closer, and they hardly speak the same language. They combined between the three of them, they barely speak English. Teo obviously speaks Spanish, and then Shohei speaks Japanese. So re-sign Teoscar Hernandez. At least do it for Shohei. Then you have Christian Walker, wherever he goes. Re-sign with the Diamondbacks or whoever he was on. Fine. But that is like the top free agents, basically up for grabs. Go grab them if you want them. If you don't grab them. We'll take them. More MLB news. St. Petersburg, whatever. It's right off of Tampa, and better known as the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. Yeah, shocker. It's not in Tampa. It's in a little town. It's like an island kind of thing called St. Pete. They approve a $6.5 million grant, or not a grant, but not a grant. What is the word I'm thinking of? I'm gonna find this word. I read it on here. Contracts. Two contracts. But the St. Pete approves $6.5 million for Tropicana Field to get cleaned up. Not even to fix the roof of Tropicana Field, but this $6.5 million will clean up the damages and prevent further damages in Tropicana Field. So, what does that mean? That means that they are going to spend the next season cleaning up, spending $6.5 million cleaning up and preventing worsening things. Because, hey, guess what? It's Florida. It rains all the time, multiple times a day, every day for 5 minutes, for 2 hours. It'll be sunny the next minute, and then it'll start raining down. This $6.5 million will prevent the Tropicana Field from being damaged even more. So, yes, it is going to be an expensive process, but at the same time, you got to do what you got to do. I say you just demolish it, and wherever you go to start the 2024 season, you just stay there for the next few seasons until they make this other stadium or whatever. But yeah, that's just I think it's just going to cost way too much money, and it's just going to, whatever, they're going to clean it. They're going to be back by 2020, hopefully 2025, maybe 2026, and they're only going to play for 2 years, and all that money went to waste. Then they're going to have to move, and then they're going to have to demo this anyway. I just say you demolish it. Again, I don't know the details or the specifics of every little thing that's happening there. I'm sure there's a reason why they're spending $6.5 million just to clean it up. And then again, probably dozens of millions of more just to fix it. But yeah, I say you just demolish it. Again, I'm not the person making that decision, but that's just what I think. Yeah, and that's, again, not including rebuilding and prevents further damage. And yeah, just demolish the thing. All right. Let's move on to our NFL Pickems. So at the time of this recording, we are watching the 4 o'clock games just because of a little scheduling issue. But I made all these picks beforehand. I have the receipts to say if anybody wants to go after me for it. So let's do that. To start off the day, you got the Saints and you got the Panthers. Give me the Saints. You have the Commanders and Giants. The Giants suck. Give me the Commanders. You have the Dolphins and Bills. A little division matchup. Give me the Bills. You got the Chargers and Browns. The Browns, Jameis Winston is not going to come back, so give me the Chargers. You have the Patriots and Titans. Easy Titans. You have the Cowboys and Falcons. How about the Cowboys lose? The Falcons are going to win. The Cowboys they suck this season. They are 3-4 this season, 3-5. Yeah, they're absolutely horrible. The Cowboys are bad. So give me the Falcons. You have the Raiders and Bengals. Easy Bengals. You have the Broncos and Ravens. Again, the Broncos, they're not at home. They don't have the team. The Ravens just came off of a bad loss against the Brown and famous Jameis Winston. So give me the Ravens. You have the Bears and you have the Cardinals. Sorry. Give me the Bears. You have the Jags and Eagles. I think this is an easy Eagles. You have the Rams and Seahawks. Again, I hate to say it. The Seahawks absolutely suck. And again, in a division matchup, we got to win this. But give me the Rams. I hate to say that. I hope I'm wrong because Seattle's at home. And I think it's going to be a close game. But ultimately, give me the Rams. Sorry. You have the Lions and you have the Packers. Give me the Lions. You have the Colts and Vikings for a little Sunday night football action. Again, this was supposed to be a 1 o'clock game. What happened? It's just a better matchup. The Vikings have been obviously phenomenal this season, and the Colts aren't at the level that the Vikings are at. It's being played in Minnesota. So give me the Vikings. You have the Bucks and you have the Chiefs for Monday Night Football. And give me the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be undefeated and 8-0 after the end of Week 9. So those are my Week 9 pick'ems. Let's move on to top five Dodgers sellies. Top 5 Dodgers celebrations in the last few years. So obviously the Dodgers just coming off the World Series win. Not trying to flex or anything, but we are World Series champions. So over the last few years, we've seen some phenomenal. We've seen some great Dodger celebrations. At number 5, you have the little elbow, I believe it was the COVID season. You have the elbow thing, and Cody Bellinger, this is why it's at number 5. I kind of liked it. Cody Bellinger dislocated his shoulder after doing that little elbow celebration, do the bump. The thing, I'm gonna pop a video up. But that's why it's at number 5. Do not hurt the prime Cody Bellinger. So that's why it's at number 5. At number 4, you have the train thing. It wasn't really a celebration. I feel like they just did it before it started, but like it was just a high five, move it into the high five, move it into the train, get on the W train, move on into the W column. At number 3, there's obviously the viral video and everything, but it was a celebration all year long. The Mookie Betts was like slapping a pig or something. The double celly for the Dodgers. It made podium. It deserves to be podium. I liked it. At number 2, you have the Freddie. This was a couple seasons ago, last season, but the Freddie, you stand up straight, and then you do the do. At number 1, the 2024 Dodgers. The World Series celebration. This is the team that won the World Series this year. Again, not trying to flex, but the Dodgers are World Series champions. But the 2024, the stretch, it's kind of like the Freddie, but you go, and the leg pops up. Apparently that happened from like an athletic training. They were trying to stretch, and I guess they were making fun of him or whatever. So now that was their new celebrations. And it's at number 1 because guess what? The Dodgers are World Series champions. You can't change it. It's not Mickey Mouse anymore. So those are your top 5 Dodger sellies in the last few seasons. Let's move on to some NFL news. You have famous Jameis, hero to zero. They obviously, Jameis Winston beat the Ravens. I believe it was only by a touchdown, but they were not projected to win. And the Browns, Jameis Winston is obviously now with the Browns. And he looked good. He looked really, really good. Famous Jameis. Out of FSU, how old is Jameis Winston? How old is Jameis Winston? He is 30 years old. I thought he was a lot older than that, not going to lie. Obviously, he had the career with the Bucks, and I think that was pretty much the extent of his career. But that was his hero. He did that. And then the week after, this week, he plays the Chargers and loses. What are we doing? They lose by 17 against the Chargers. He only scored 1 touchdown. Jameis Winston, you had it. We thought you were back, baby. But no, Jameis Winston was not back. And I think he's just done. I think he's done at 30 years old. I think he had a few good seasons with the Bucks. Like, I was rooting for you, Jameis. I was rooting for you. And we ultimately didn't get it. More NFL news. Future Hall of Famer Jason Kelce. Do not mess with Travis and Taylor, man. Especially around Jason Kelce. You know he was an O-line. He was a center. You do not mess with a 300-pound center that's a Hall of Famer. You just don't do it. You can't call his brother and potential future sister-in-law these words. What are you thinking? This college kid out of Penn State, Jason Kelce, was there for College Game Day, and this Penn State kid is chirping at him, calling Travis Kelce what Durant was saying a few months ago. And I think what really ticked him off is that he mentioned Taylor Swift with it. Whatever, yeah, you mentioned Travis Kelce. I've said some stuff about my brother too. But then you get into Travis Kelce, who, again, maybe trying to get into the family. You never know. I think it might happen soon. But, so basically, Jason Kelce doesn't really say anything. He turns around. He's like, did you say this? Whatever. He takes his phone, smashes it. You could hear it. I mean, that camera angle's like 10 feet away. You could hear it smash. Jason Kelce turns around, picks it up. The kid's like, hey, give me my phone back. Probably still in shock about what happened. And he walks away with the phone. He's like, no, this is my phone now. Props to Jason Kelce. Teach him what's up. Tell him what's up. I think this will change a lot of young guys' mindset towards talking to people in real life. I think people are too busy, again, hating online, whatever. Look at the comments below. I guarantee you there's probably at least one hate comment. People are they're used to doing it online behind the screen, and when they get in real life against this 300-pound the center, you can't just do that and not expect something to happen. Now, if this was public on the street or something, it could have been a lot worse. But since he was there for College Game Day, I don't think he wanted to physically hurt him at all. I'm wondering what this kid's going to do, because obviously the phone's probably not cheap. But yeah, you just don't do that to Jason Kelce. You can't do that, especially. And Taylor Swift is just a whole. just show him what's up. Way to protect Travis and Taylor. And hey, don't call 300-pound centers brothers these slurs. Let's talk about Richardson versus Flacco. Anthony Richardson, this young guy coming up. Hey, you're good. You're gonna be in the NFL. You'll be fine. You don't need to try. Wrong. You just got this 90-year-old veteran, Joe Flacco, who's, again, how old's Joe Flacco? Now that we're looking up QB's age. Joe Flacco. How old is Joe Flacco? Yeah, 39 years old. This 39-year-old is outperforming Anthony Richardson. 22-year-old Anthony Richardson, he was, holy cow, is that 17 years? Holy cow. Joe Flacco, who is 17 years older than Anthony Richardson, is outperforming him. And Flacco might finish the season off with the Colts. He might be their QB1 for the rest of the season. Anthony Richardson, you just can't come out of the game explaining that 2 minutes before the game's done, saying that you're tired. You're in the big leagues now. You can't be saying that anymore. And then, Flacco's the veteran. He's obviously tried hard. He's never had, he just strives to be on the field, be good. He's that backup guy. And then Richardson just sucks, first of all, and doesn't care. I feel like Richardson just wants the paycheck and leave, and he just wants to put the jersey on, paycheck, and leave. He doesn't actually want to try and win. And I think ultimately that's why he got benched, and I think he should be for the rest of the season. Richardson just doesn't care. All right, on to my favorite segment, Hall of Fame. Yay or nay? All right, for Hall of Fame, yay or nay? Shout out to Daniel Hudson, finishes his 15-year career. So we're going to do a little Hall of Fame yay or nay on him. I haven't looked up his stats before him. I think it's a nay. But he's been in the league for 15 years. He's played for a whole bunch of teams. What teams has he played for? He's played for... Let's look up here. He's played for the White Sox, the Diamondbacks, the Pirates, the Dodgers. He played for the Dodgers, Padres, Nationals, Blue Jays. He's been with the Dodgers for the last 6 seasons. He's been for the Dodgers for a while. 2-time World Series champion. Shout out to the Dodgers. He won Silver Slugger. He won Silver Slugger and a career... Again, 15 seasons, career wins above replacement, 7.7, 65 wins, 45 losses, a career 3.74 ERA, which actually isn't that bad. He's played almost 550 games. He started 61, 43 saves in his career, over 855 innings pitched, 817 strikeouts, and a 1.221 whip in his career. Did he ever lead the league anything? Nah, he's a reliever. I think it's a nay. I just don't think the stats are there. He had a mediocre career, but congratulations, Daniel Hudson, on a career. Obviously, not a lot of guys get a 15-year career, so congratulations and happy retirement, man. Way to do in the World Series. I think that one game is going to define you for the rest of your life, but hey, guess what? For the other 500 games that he played for us, not 500, the other 300 games that you played with the Dodgers, props to you. Congratulations. And, all right. So, thank you guys for watching the 71st episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Make sure to go to shop@HatTrickSports.com to get the best merch available, except for this shirt because it's copyright. And we will see you next week for episode 71.